Dudes, check this out. A fistful of some of my favorite everyday carry knives. And I have lots. Go check out my playlists. These are just a few of them. I literally just went to the knife drawer, grabbed a handful for this video. These are all HOF blades, recommended here in TMP for years. I use them all the time, love them. You might recognize a few players. SOG Flash 1's in there. Delica 4 FFG, Centofonte 3 by Spyderco, Skyline's in there. There's an Energy 1740, Twitch 2, Mini AK-47, Old Style, Cold Steel Voyager, medium size, all in that cluster of awesome Hall of Famers here in TMP. And honestly, as you guys know from watching my knife videos, hi everybody, Nutnfancy, philosophy video on knives, believe it or not, coming your way. I use those knives mostly in my everyday carry choice. I'm going to start this video off with a question though. You've already seen the title, you know it's coming. Would you carry a $200, let's say a $300 knife in your pocket every day, hard using it as needed in your utility tasks, whatever they are, whoever you are, every day would you do that? $300 knife in your pocket. You might think I'm going to say a certain thing on this topic, and I think I'm going to surprise you with this philosophy video because I don't know, I've changed a little bit of how I look at it, and I'm going to explain why in this video, and I think it'll make a lot of sense to you knife guys here in the Nutnfancy project. I'm going to start off by not directly answering that question. That will come throughout the video, but I'm going to show you a couple samples of knives. How about this? Just reviewed this one. Awesome. Imkusta Katana in gold. That wicked Damascus looking VG10 steel. Seki City, Japan. Just over $100 if you go to my recommended retailer with a Nutnfancy discount. Like I said in the video, would you EDC that? $100 knife? Don't answer. Not yet. Here comes another choice. Where am I going to go from here? Oh, how about this one? I've been EDCing this one for a long time. This is the Wilson Combat Extreme Light Carry. Reviewed, highly recommended. It's also known, I think, as the Fox Gunhammer. N690 steel. Love this knife. I've EDC'd it for a long time. Lots of wear and tear on it. It's an expensive blade. I forget offhand what it is, but it's well over $100. I think well over $150 or around there. Would you EDC that knife? Don't answer. How about this one? Emerson CQC8. This one came with a chisel grind, and I reprofiled it to conventional V grind. Love this knife. 154 cm steel. Great tactical knife. Kind of a large EDC option. Maybe for you it isn't. I've EDC'd this forever, so has my son Tactical Doodle. We love it. Emerson knives rock. They're expensive though. Some of those Emerson knives get up there. Would you EDC them? How about this one? Benchmade Infidel 3310. This is the drop point blade. $400 OTF knife. Would you EDC that? All these knives that you haven't seen, you'll be seeing them. I'm reviewing them. So stay tuned, TMP knife guys. You're going to dig what you're going to see. It'll be fun. And then how about this one? And do me a favor, dispense with the controversy on this blade. Concentrate on the knife because the knife is insanely cool and well put together. Microtech Matrix. I know all about the 777 controversy stuff. Just I don't want to see it in the comments. It's not a player here. What is a player is the knife's price, and that's $700. And it will go up. We'll talk about that in this video too. Okay, so $700. Would you EDC that knife? Nutnfancy? Huh. That's a good question. Have all these awesome knives I just opened the video with, right? These ones right here. I mean, they're so capable, right? That's what my whole review talks about, is their first kind of cool, their capability and roll. They're functional, they're high value, they have great steels, they deploy fast, they lock tight, but are they special? And more importantly, let's make this accurate, are they special to you? And that's really the only person that matters, is you. How you feel about the blade. Welcome to a philosophy video. I'm going to call it and introduce a new term. It's going to be a philosophy of use term, high-end carry, or HEC. I know, another acronym. Crying out loud, Nutnfancy. high-end carry. In that philosophy of use, and I'm going to make reference to it when I get to this, and this can apply to both folding and fixed blade knives, guys. I'm going to talk about all of it here, and then I'll make reference to HEC and the POUs of that particular video, because there's a lot to be said, and a lot of it's going to be common. And here in this video, I'm going to talk about performance of HEC, what I look for to qualify under HEC, pricing levels, the specialness of the blade, and that is very important when we talk about HEC, the no compromise factor, and then I'm going to talk about something you've never heard before, but I'll introduce it here, and that's called generational wear, which is really cool in my opinion. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to talk about performance first, and I'm going to say most of the knives that I just showed you, not the first ones, but the second group, are in my opinion kind of expensive. And when I have an expensive knife, here in the Nutnfancy project, I expect pretty much superlative performance. In other words, it's got to be pretty darn good. Okay, if I buy a knife that's expensive, I don't expect it to fail when I'm using it as designed. That's an important thing, by the way. So we're taking out, we're EDCing it, we're using it in our utility tasks. We're not abusing it though. We're just doing what the maker said that it can do. And sometimes, as you've seen here in TMP, I will call them out on that. They make all these claims, well, once in a while I'll go out and test it. And if they pass, more likely than not, I'll rave about the knife. I said, hey, it lived up to the hype, great job, love it. If it doesn't, I'll call them out on it. You've seen that recently here. I just don't put up with hype. But in order to qualify for HEC, in other words, in my philosophy of use, if I say this knife is HEC, that means in my mind, it has superlative performance. This steel is right. The lockup is tight. It's going to have no durability issues. The fit and finish on these knives is just off the charts. It's just phenomenal. And it is equal to its price point. I'm just throwing that Imkusa katana up there for the heck of it, okay? I wouldn't say it's absolutely perfect, that it will never ever fail you when we talk about performance. Because every knife will fail you if you take it out of its roll, or sometimes even if you don't take it out of its roll. You know, I've heard of Microtechs having issues before. And I have kind of a predominance of Microtechs, so don't read into that. It's just, I've used them a lot over my years, so I can speak with authority on how they've performed for me. There's a lot of great knives. Sabenzas, great knives. You know, are there failures of any brand you want to pick? Benchmade, Spyderco, Kershaw, Cold Steel. Yes, the answer is yes. They've all had quality controls one time or another. If you've been watching TMP since 2008, dudes, you've seen me talk about it, because a lot of my reviews are about that. So I don't expect perfection. Near perfection is what I expect. And I expect good customer service, because if I've paid $200 or $300 for a knife, they better come through if and when I have a problem with it, and Johnny on the spot, no questions asked type thing. I think that's reasonable for us to expect that. Okay, so that's performance, superlative. Now I'm going to go into price. Okay, and by the way, I'm going to start off pricing levels when we talk about high-end carry options are highly variable, because what may be expensive to you might not be expensive to Joe, who works with you. Okay, maybe you're contractors, general contractors, and you two guys work together, and for him, spending $40 on a knife is insane. He just can't see doing it. And for you, maybe spending $200 on a knife is insane. We all have our own values of what we set, and so we got to be really careful when we interact with each other to not impose our value system on another guy and say, hey, because I feel this way, and I talked about this in my video in 2008, Two Kinds of Cool. I'm going to rehash it here because it's very important. You can't say, well, because my value system is here, I want to set your value system there too. Don't do that. Don't do it in the forums. Don't do it in the comments of a TMP video, anywhere. It's uncool because you don't know that person and what they set as value. If you want to talk about first kind of cool, performance, and roll, I think logically and reasonably we can debate those factors in a cool way. That's completely on the table. When we talk about value, really hard to define. Nor does value or price in this instance, we're talking about high-end carry HEC options, determine HEC. In other words, in my mind, a knife doesn't have to go above $200 to be a high-end carry option. Again, just because it's here and it's handy, the katana. In a lot of people's minds, this is an affordable knife. $100 for a knife, give or take some. That's not overly expensive. I review all kinds of, I can't speak, all kinds of Spydercos that have that. So it's not related to price. You know, if you talk about, here comes another one. How about this one? A manual action Microtech SOCOM. Did you hear that sucker came out? Look at that! Okay, this one's about $275. To me, it's total HEC. High-end carry. By the way, I'm not talking about collectability. That's something different. I'll address that in an individual knife review. I'm talking about HEC, that you choose to carry it every day, hard use it every day. Not abuse it, hard use it. That's a great option. But $275, that's a lot of money for a carry knife, especially when I'm throwing options at you that are, I don't know, 40, 50 bucks. I'm going to talk to reasons why though. But keep this in mind. Price does not determine HEC. Could be $100, could be $200, could be $300. Just doesn't depend on price. The higher it goes though, I will tell you this, it is more apt to run into the realm of HEC, or to be qualified for it in my mind or not. Okay? And I will still scrutinize value. Remember, value isn't price. A lot of people get confused on that. Well, it's a $200 knife. Yeah, but does it deliver value? In other words, does it retain its value? Will it increase in value if you take care of it? Or even if you don't take care of it? Wink, nod. I'll tell you what I mean by that. Value is important. It's got to deliver value. If it doesn't deliver value, then I'll call them out on that as well. Maybe it doesn't qualify for HEC. And also, this is important. And who will I pick on for this? I'll pick on Microtech. It's the manufacturer's option of how they're going to set price. That's not our option. He can do it however he wants. He can price this at $1,000 if he wants. And a lot of that is related to the specialness, which I'll get to in just one second, of the blade. And that's completely up to the manufacturer, how he orients his brand, how he controls his brand. Microtech does this. Benchmade does this. They don't let any of their dealers just go out and set their pricing because they're controlling the pricing on their brand because they're controlling their brand. Some guys have a real hard time understanding this and they have issues with it. They really shouldn't, because you have a lot of knife options and you just don't have to buy that manufacturer. But some guys say, well, I want a Microtech for $85. It's not going to happen, dude. Unless it's a used Microtech, maybe, if you're lucky. It's the manufacturer's option, how he positions it. And actually, part of that pricing is part of the specialness. It's kind of an exclusive club. It's kind of like cars. You know, cars are that way too. You know, why does a Ferrari 458 Italia cost $285,000? Does it really cost $285 to make that car? Maybe it does. I don't know. But that's a lot of money. It's a very exclusive club. Okay? I might get back to that 458 Italia here in a second. Then we go into specialness. Okay, so it's manufacturer. He can control the pricing. And if he does that for owners of the knife, and he's very consistent on how he does that, you should thank him if you own that knife already. How would you feel if you went out and bought a car? Let's say it's the 458. I'll just pick on that Ferrari. And then as soon as you buy it, they cut the price and then they sell it for $75,000. What? I'm talking big numbers here, but it's a point that I'm making. In other words, it's ridiculous, but it makes a point well. How would you feel about that as an owner of that Italia? Would you be digging it? Hey man, I just paid $285 for this, now it's $75. You just killed me in value. You want the manufacturer to be very consistent on how he manages value. That leads to specialness. Specialness means not everybody will have that knife. Maybe it's because they just can't afford it. I don't know. Okay? Keep that in mind. Exclusivity drives up specialness. Okay, and I'm going to roll in another Microtech just because, like I said, I have a history with them. Here is a mini SOCOM Elite Auto that I carried in my flight suit in the military. Flew with me in combat support operations. It's just a wicked blade. And look at what the blade is stamped with. And I've shown this on camera before. Okay, it's got the Microtech Talon on it, and then it has a blade stamp of 1/2004. Just because it has that blade stamp makes it special. Because it was limited production makes it special. Because it's no longer available, all of that makes it special. This is an HEC knife all the way. All the way. It doesn't really matter what it cost. Remember what I said about price? The exclusivity makes it HEC. And you can have that with manufacturer blades too. That because it's so limited, it's so special, it's so hard to get a hold of, it's exclusive, and that makes us smile when we carry it. Okay, I told you the plot thickens here, right? Second kind of cool. What's second kind of cool about? That we get enjoyment out of it, that we dig it, we just love it. And I got to tell you, when I had the Mini SOCOM Elite, you know, pinned to my flight suit, I'm flying, you know, I just loved it. It was a conversation topic wherever I went for anybody that liked knives in the squadron. Or for that matter, anybody I met while deployed. They're like, dude, Microtech, awesome. It's cool. Did I like it? Absolutely. Why do we put cool rims on our cars? Well, because we like it. It makes us feel good. And if someone comes up and say, hey, dude, cool rims, do we like that? Or we just go, hey, man, I don't want to hear it. I don't know. Maybe it's prideful. I don't know. But it's kind of cool. We like it. And more importantly, it's how it makes us feel. Specialness. Limited edition. They only make it for a time. And let's say it's a failing knife company. Let's say the knife company, for whatever reason, doesn't make it and they make this batch of knives. What do you think that's going to do to Specialness? It's going to drive it off the charts. If you don't believe me, just go look at the collectible knife market. What's a good example? Desert Knife Works Sandshark, not plural, singular. The Desert Knife Works Sandshark. And honestly, I really didn't know that knife, but from what I understand, they are off the charts in value. They're selling for a lot. The company's no longer making them, but it was a great OTF knife. That is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. How exclusive is that knife? Well, Nutnfancy would be crazy to EDC that knife. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, it depends on the dude. It depends on how you define value. I'm going to really close the video with that, and I think it'll bring understanding. So if it's a failing company or a knife design that just doesn't stand the test of time for whatever reason, if there's controversy surrounding it, off the charts, HEC. Off the charts. What? Absolutely. That's because there are going to be fewer still. That knife value is going to continue to go up. Remember, exclusivity drives HEC to a huge extent because it's cool. Okay? And then we get to no compromise. Back to the 458 Italia. I'm going to ask you this question. What car do you drive every day? What car would you like to drive every day if cost was no object? What car would you like to? Or truck? Chances are you guys are probably throwing out some pretty high-end stuff. Well, dude, I'd like to, what is it? The Corvette ZR1. I want that car. Porsche Cayenne. You know, what's that? The Ford Raptor. You know, that high-end truck. That's a sick truck, by the way. All kinds of options, right? And yet, in our lives, because of finances mostly, we have to make some compromises. I do the same thing all the time. I don't drive the car I'd really like to drive. I drive something that kind of mimics that car, you know, that might have some performance features that I like, that make me smile when I drive it, that it lasts, that it's well put together. And again, we get back to the analogy, right, of these types of knives. Are they compromises? It just depends where you put valuation. It depends where you put specialness. Who's to say? To most people, I would say these are not compromises. If they go out and spend, I don't know, where's another knife? You know, how about this? $40 on a limited edition Blue Tenacious. Then dudes, that's a lot of money to them. But to us knife guys, as gear guys, we're like, $40 for a knife, that's really a good buy. I want to have it the rest of my life and all that stuff. And yet, to you, a dyed-in-the-wool, true blue knife guy, is it a compromise? Is there something that you'd really, really like to have? Would you like to drive a 458 Italia? A McLaren, what is that one? They just came out with a LC12 or something. Insane. Yeah, that'd be fun, Nutnfancy. I'd love it. I just can't afford it. Absolutely. But you just might be able to afford an infidel. Okay, this might be the one area in your life that you won't compromise. And here's the good part, is since you put it in, and I'm just using the infidel, please don't focus on the knives here, focus on the concepts. As you put this in your everyday carry role, POU, you use it every day. Every time you clip it to your pocket, you're smiling, you're digging it. Okay, you interact with your friends, your law enforcement officers, your cop buddies, and they say, oh, dude, you got the infidel, and they hold it. They like it. Maybe they want one too. It's a no-compromise option for you. It could be any knife. Maybe it's a Sabenza. Maybe it's that awesome Bradley alias I reviewed in 2008. Maybe it's Extreme Light Carry. A Benchmade. A Microtech. Maybe it's this one. You haven't seen this one for a while. How about a purple limited edition UMS? This is dated 10/2004. Total and complete HEC right there. It's no compromise. For me, it's like the best of something in my life, and I use it every day. And because I'm using something that is special to me, there's that word again, that it's to me. It's not to the forum. It's not to other people on the internet, but it's to me. Then it's awesome. It makes me smile. It brings me enjoyment. It's high-end carry, and it's serving a purpose. Totally serving a purpose. Okay, so it's a no compromise something, whatever it is. In this case, it's a knife that I'm putting into my life, and it's the best, recognized as the best by many quarters. Again, we could debate which ones, but you get the concept. No compromise. And finally, I'll end the video with this. We're talking about high-end carry, generational wear. I said that perhaps if we put some wear and tear on it, it actually becomes more valuable. How could that be? That you would take that UMS and you'd go out and thrash on it? How in the world would it be more valuable, Nutnfancy? It would lose its value. It's all scratched up and dinged up. Oh, really? Where'd it go? Where did that little knife go? There it is again. Okay, again, I'll show you my Mini SOCOM Elite Auto. Kind of beat up. Definitely used. Not worth anything? How about to my family? Ooh, suddenly the whole valuation equation is turned on its head. Generational wear, when we talk about an HEC knife, will take the value of that knife off the scale for your kids, your children, your family. Heck, I don't know, for whoever else will find value in that you used it, that it was a part of your life. And I've ran into guys that have these old hand-me-down knives, and they're nothing to look at, they're nothing special. Some are those old case knives. When they came out, they maybe bought them for $10, but man, do they have sentimental value to those people. How much better to roll in an HEC blade, put that wear and tear on it, and now look at the specialness of that blade. Microtech, Ultratech, and Urban Camo. Can you imagine doing that to this blade? Wear and tear from dad, you hand it down to your kids, assuming you're in a legal state, but you can have all that. Generational wear is cool. It is cool because it is a generational tie-in from you to your children, to your wife, to your friends. You know, I gave that knife to Bucket Nuster. It's an Ontario Rat 1. I Dura coated it, and he hangs on to it like it's gold. To him, it's like so special. You know, I signed it with Nutnfancy. He loves that. That's why I sign my blades, because if you get one, I'm trying to make that tie-in, make it more special. So back to the question, would you carry a $300 knife as your EDC knife? Maybe. Maybe. For all the reasons. Value's in the eye of the beholder, dude. You know, these knives are built well. The ones I've shown you on camera, they can take it year after year, deliver. The Microtechs that I've used sure have. There's lots of options for it. Is that something that I would put first and foremost in my knife hobby? Probably not. I'd almost, as I've said in front of the TMP camera, I almost want a high value collection. Kind of an arsenal of EDC or tactical or woods blades to choose from. Like these. If and when you expand beyond that, you get rid of some of those blades, transfer them into other money. Maybe you could look into a high-end carry. And if it's really, really special, really, really expensive, maybe, and delivering all kinds of specialness to you, maybe it's an ultra high-end carry option. It's not out of the realm of possibility. You're going to see in the comments of this philosophy video of guys that do it. High-end carry. And they will tell you they love it. There's no regrets. And I respect it. That's all I'm saying. High-end carry is a separate and distinct philosophy of use for these knives. It's not collectible. It's a use knife. But man, drives like a Ferrari. This is Nutnfancy. Hope you liked it. See ya.